Welcome everyone for this new series of lectures on data warehousing and data mining. And AKTU subject code is KOE093. Okay. So this subject is basically divided into two major parts. So one is data warehousing. So first two units are majorly concerned about data warehousing, and rest of the three units are concerned about data mining. Okay. So I'll give you an overview what exactly is the use of data warehouses and how we apply the techniques that are known as data mining to get the knowledge that can be very useful in our decision making when we are concerned about our businesses, right? So this subject is very relevant for the current scenario. Okay. So first of all, first unit is we'll be starting with data warehousing, right? Now, what is the basic idea of having a data warehouse? So data warehouse is basically, you can think of it as like a huge collection, a huge collection of historical data, right? Which is actually collected from various different sources. Okay. Then we do, so what we have a data warehouse. So first of all, we must create this data warehouse by having the data from multiple sources. There may be different sources, right? So it may be your transactional database, it may be from your different files may be there, it may be the data may come from web, it may be manually entered, right? So on and so forth. Now what we do, obviously this data is from different sources and it is having different structure. So first of all, we have to do some sort of technique like data cleaning, data reduction, data normalization. So a lot of pre-processing task has to be done to, you know, to get ready with this data warehouse. And this data warehouse is obviously we'll talk about how it is different from your day-to-day transactional databases, right? Now what we can do once we have a data in this data warehouse, then comes in picture is data mining techniques, right? So we can use different data mining techniques. So if I take some examples of like classification, clustering, uh, we can use these data mining techniques to have useful knowledge. Okay. And then we can use this knowledge in future for the decision making. So this knowledge will actually help us in making intelligent decisions. Okay. So obviously, what is the fundamental requirement here? We must have data, right? And as you can see, nowadays there is no scarcity of data. We have lots of data available. We are generating, uh, we are generating zettabytes and petabytes of data every day. Okay, right. So now we'll go with the formal definition of data warehouse. So what exactly is data warehouse? So a data warehouse is a subject oriented. So these are the, different properties of data warehouse. So data warehouse is a subject oriented. We'll discuss each and every property. It integrated, time variant and non-volatile collection of data in support of management decision making process. So this is very important, right? See, what is the basic idea? What is the basic objective behind having this data warehouse is we can make intelligent decisions that may be used in our businesses, right? So a data warehouse is what? It is a decision support database that is maintained separately. See, one is database, your day-to-day transactional database, and other thing is data warehouse. So these two are different. Okay. So in the further lectures, we'll discuss each and every difference about these two. But for the time being, we can think of it like database is something which is known as OLTP, that is online transactional processing. And in data warehouse, we have this term OLAP. So that is online analytical processing, right? So in this database is actually used for transactions purpose. This is the main objective. And for this data warehouse, analysis is the main purpose. And why we are doing the analysis? To have intelligent knowledge which can be used in decision making, right? Now we'll see what are the meaning of these different properties. Okay, one is subject oriented. So this data warehouse is actually organized. It is actually created around major subjects. So the subjects may be one of the subject may be customer. So subject oriented means we are organizing our data in the data warehouse around different subjects, major subjects. Now let us suppose we want to analyze about the customer, so we will be organizing our data around the customer. If we want to analyze something around about the product, we'll be organizing our data around the product, so on and so forth. So there may be different subjects as per the requirement, as per the business requirement, right? So it provides a simple and concise view around particular subject issues by excluding the data that is not useful, okay, for the decision making. So we are actually looking at how we can have intelligent decisions from this data around a particular subject. Then it is integrated. So as already I have discussed about, like we are having the data in the data warehouse from multiple sources, multiple heterogeneous data sources. So it may be from your day-to-day relational databases. It may be from some flat files. It may be from online transactional record. It may be entered manually, right? And obviously, as the data is from the heterogeneous sources, so it must have different structure, different naming conventions. So we'll be applying these data cleaning, data integration techniques later on to have a consistent kind of data in the data warehouses from the multiple data sources. Then it should be time variant. So what we'll be looking at, we must be having the data, we must be having the historical data, right? So if we talk about our databases, so it generally have current data, right? But now in case of data warehouse, our perspective is different. Our perspective is of analysis, right? So we must have historical data from, it may be from past 5 to 10 years. And obviously the operations will also be different. Like if I talk about relational databases, so the operation would be kind of, we are doing some sort of queries on the data and we are getting the required data out of the database. But here we are looking at the trends, right? We are generating the trends that might be useful in the decision making, right? Then it should be non-volatile. So this is the last property of data warehouse. So the data must be non-volatile. So non-volatile means we need to store the data for a very long time, right? We are not talking about the current data. So we are talking about the historical data. So we need to have a physical separate store of data that is actually transformed from the operational environment, right? So operational update of data does not occur. As already I have talked about, like normal operations we won't be doing. As in case of relational databases, we generally what we do, we insert the data, we delete the data, we do certain kind of uh, uh, queries on the data, updations, so on and so forth. But here the operations would actually be different. So what we'll be doing, we'll be simply initial loading of data we'll be doing, and then we'll be doing some sort of access. And obviously these access will actually depend on the kind of analysis we are doing, on what kind of subjects we have stored the data, and on what kind of subjects we are trying to gather the knowledge, right? So these sort of operations we'll be doing. So it does not require transaction processing, recoveries, all these things we use in databases. So these would not be required here. Okay. So this is about the basic about data warehouse. In the next lecture, we'll be discussing about how this data warehouse is different from our day-to-day databases. Okay. what are the different uh, you know who will be using data warehouse, who will be the users of databases, right? How much data would be there in the data warehouse? So all these things we'll be discussing in the further lectures, right? Thank you.